Fine. I'm going to start with a general overview about the IELTS. First, it is the International English Language Testing System. That's what the letters refer to in the IELTS. It measures your ability to communicate in English across all areas, across all the fields. It judges your skills of listening, reading, writing, and speaking. For people who want to travel abroad, this is a must for some countries. And for people who want to join universities as well, they require either the IELTS or the TOEFL. So it's one of the options there. We have actually two sections of this exam. You can choose between academic or general, and I'll be talking about which one is suitable for you according to your needs. The general part is usually needed for people who want to travel. So if you want to immigrate, for example, Australia, Canada, or somewhere else, that would require you to take the IELTS. The easiest thing to do is to go for the general. The academic is a bit more into, from the name, it's more academic. So if you want to go to university, this is your choice. Universities usually ask between 5.5 to 6 in order to give you admission. Now let me talk a little bit about the bands you can get. The highest band in IELTS is 9. Okay, so the band ranges from 0 to 9. There is no failure here, remember this. There's nothing like, oh, I failed this test. No. There's something called probably I didn't meet the requirements, but there's nothing like failure here. 0 is only given to people who don't show up in the exam, and then we go up in the levels 1, 2, 3, 4. Those who don't do very well, who are weak in some parts, in some skills. 5 is fine, 6 is okay, 7 for me is something very good, 7.5 is amazing, 8, 8.5, wow. If you get 9, you are nearly the level of native speaker. So it is something truly, truly amazing. Now, how many tests we have in the IELTS exam? We have 4 actually, as I told you: listening, writing, reading, and speaking. What is special about this test is that speaking test is usually taken on a different day. It is alone. So you sit for 3 tests on one day, and then the other day you go to speaking. Speaking test is either 1 or 2 days before the other test or after. Okay, on a separate day. There's something interesting about this exam as well. There's no grammar section. You are not tested on your grammar for real. I mean, not like the TOEFL. There's a grammar part in it. No, you're not going to be asked about the tenses and other skills. No, but it is integrated in the test. So, for example, when you're taking the writing exam, of course, your grammar should be correct and clear. Spelling as well, and everything counts, style and all. So grammar is just integrated in every aspect of the test. Now, I'll be actually focusing today on listening exam more than anything else. I'll give you tips and I'll show you how to deal with the test. For the other tests, I'll go live or record some videos for you on other days. So let's focus on one skill for the time being, so you don't get confused in a way. So here it is. The listening test is the same for academic or general. There's no difference at all. It is 4 sections and the time is 40 minutes. You are given 40 minutes. In each section you have 10 questions, 30 minutes to finish all the questions, and then you are given 10 minutes to transfer your answers from the from the question sheet to a separate sheet that is going to be corrected for you. Okay, so in 30 minutes you can answer your questions anywhere in the paper, and then you can transfer them 10 minutes to transfer them. Fine. What type of questions do I expect in this exam? You can have multiple choice questions. You can have matching questions or completing the missing word. Sometimes you have to give short answers. And by the way, short answers in the IELTS are 3 words maximum. There's no question in the IELTS that requires you to write more than 3 words if it is fill the gap. No more than 3 words. And you will find this direction if you go to the exam. It's written on the paper, on top. Don't write more than 3 words. Sometimes you have a chart or a table to complete. So you can listen to somebody talking, and while you listen, you fill the table, okay, with the necessary information. Sometimes they ask you to classify something. So you are given different types and you have to put them in their correct place. You listen. You don't do it on your own, of course, depending on your background knowledge. No. Whatever you listen to, you take it down. Okay? And here is something about it to remember. You will only hear the recording once. They will never in any possible way repeat the recording for you. You hear it once and for all. That's it. Now, we said we have 4 sections in the exam. What are the things in each section? How they are different from each other? Fine. If we go to section 1, in section 1, you will hear probably 2 to 3 people are talking. You will have this type of conversation on everyday events, on social levels. Okay, so it's not something so academic, it's not something scientific. They talk about everyday matters, like somebody is booking for a flight or a hotel, or probably they want to go somewhere, or they want to rent a car. There's a conversation between 2, or probably 2 people in the street. One of them is asking for directions. Expect anything like that. It's very normal everyday conversation between 2 to 3 people, for example. The questions in this section are normally either complete a form, okay, or complete a sentence with the required information, or probably they will just give you options to choose from. Did they say this or that or that? Okay? That's it for question 1. You will hear a conversation. In question 2, there's only one person speaking. There's a monologue here. But still, the topic he's talking about or she's talking about is just a general one, an everyday type of presentation. For example, you can hear to a TV broadcaster telling you the news about anything, or radio presenter or anything. Okay? In section 3, we switch to more academic stuff. You will find 2 people as well talking about an academic topic, something like a student and a professor discussing an assignment of some sort, okay, or they're talking about a certain subject at university, anything of this kind. So we talk about something so specific. Probably they will use more scientific idioms and expressions. So you need to be careful about train your ear to listen to something like that. Okay. Section 4, it is still academic, but only one person talking. Something like a lecture at university can fit in this section, because you find one person talking who is the professor, and they are talking about something so academic. Okay. Normally this happens. Normally it's a lecture. If it is not a lecture, it is at least the professor explaining something about an assignment or a project. Okay, so they talk alone on an extended period of time. Okay, I'll remind you again, you have 10 questions for each section. You have 30 minutes to finish all, and then 10 minutes to transfer your information. Now you have the general overview of the exam. Now I'll give you some very quick tips on how to deal with this exam, what to do, and how to tackle this. Because believe me, this is what happens with students who take the IELTS test. Usually the test itself is not so difficult for them. They can do it. I know students who come out and tell me, Master, the questions were easy. If I take the exam now, I can answer them all. But it's all about time management. time is pressing, and as I told you, it's only once you hear the recording. So this is a pressing issue for students. So if you know how to manage your time, if you know how to deal smartly with the test, there you go. It's not so difficult as it seems. So here are the tips. The first one is this. Listen for clues. What does that mean? It means people, when they speak, they use certain words to signal where they are now in the conversation. Something like the word however, or although, or finally, this and that happened. So you can anticipate what they are going to say next if you hear a word like that. Now, let me ask you a question. If you hear the word however, and then somebody is going to say something, it's obviously going to be the opposite. There's some sort of contradiction. You know this. However signals some sort of contradiction. So they are talking about the topic, and then they use however, so you can expect, you can anticipate what is going to be next. So prepare yourself for that when you listen. When you hear finally, oh, that's the gist of it, that's the end. Okay, they are going to summarize the whole idea. Okay, although as well, it gives you contradicting ideas. So be smart enough to look for those clues. Okay. Another very important tip is this, and believe me, that's a trick they always do in the exam. Don't write your answers too quickly, please, because you have the paper now. You can write an answer, maybe you can change it later. That's why they give you this 10 minutes time to transfer your answers at the end, because sometimes mistakes happen. One of them is this. If you write the question too quickly, they might correct themselves while they speak. Here is an example. If you are hearing a conversation between two people, one of them is, for example, they are on the phone, let's assume, and one of them is saying, okay, my friend, I'll see you on Wednesday afternoon. And you have to fill the date there. So, okay, I got it. It's Wednesday afternoon. That's the answer. I heard it correctly. Fine. Just wait for the other guy to speak. He might say, sorry, I am busy at that time. Can we meet Thursday evening instead? Okay, cool with me. So what is the correct answer here? It's Thursday evening. So don't rush into the answer. That's the tip. Or at least you can record that answer and still listen. Don't say, okay, I got it. Okay, go to the next question. No. They might correct. Okay? It always happens. It always happens. Another very important note is don't leave any answer blank. That's important for at least two reasons. The first one is this. If you have a type of question which is multiple choice and you leave it blank, why don't you just guess? Your guess might be correct at the end. Why you lose it? Okay. The other reason, at least, there might happen something which is dangerous. When you transfer your answers to that paper, to the final paper, which is going to be corrected, and you are going to be graded on those answers. If you leave something blank and you transfer it, you might just skip it. For example, question 7 is blank in your original paper and you want to transfer that. You might mistakenly take question 8 and put it in 7 because 7 was blank there and you are just filling the gaps. You reach the end and oops, I have a question left for the last one, and you have to repeat that again. You might not have enough time. You got it? If you skip one question, you go down the list, you discover your mistake at the end. So that's one of the questions I was reported. So please don't do that. Just concentrate, focus. You don't have to to be distracted by anything. You trust your abilities, you can do it, you just focus on the missing information, and there you go. There are also some general things to remember. Though it is a listening test and they judge your listening abilities, everything else counts, believe me. So spelling counts, capital letters counts, grammar counts. So for example, if you have a blank there, and it requires an adjective, you mistakenly write a noun here. So for example, you can say, I am going to buy a blank car. In this blank here, you need an adjective. You can write an old car, a new car, a used car, a nice car, whatever it is. You can't write a noun here, for example. Okay? A red car is possible. Fine? But if you write something like any noun, table, for example, it doesn't work. Okay? You need an adjective here. Fine? So they will judge you on grammar, on spelling. Spelling is so important here, especially in listening. Because sometimes they will give you information about a name of a town that you have never heard of, or a name of a person which is so difficult, a Russian name, let's say. You're not familiar with that. They might spell that for you. Okay, so let's imagine this situation. A person from Russia is trying to book a hotel in London, and he's calling somebody there. Hello, can I book a hotel? Fine. Can you give me your personal information? Fine. My name is whatever, Torsinov. You're not familiar with that. Sir, can you spell your name? Okay, it's T-U-R-N. Oh, here you have to listen. T-U-R. They are spelling the name for you. And remember, since it's a name, it starts with a capital letter. So these tricks, guys, be careful with these. They will judge you because, believe me, even if you get the right answer, okay, for example, a name which is so familiar, like George, and you know how to write it. You write it with a small letter, it's an X. You don't get the mark for this question, okay? They are so strict with that. Alright. That's it for me. That's all what I want to talk about for listening exam. Next, I'll be meeting with you to talk about the other tests, either reading, writing, or speaking. We're gonna allocate time for that, like today, for example, maybe half an hour or so. Please tell me anything you like here in the comments. Ask any questions. I'll be so happy to answer your questions. Okay? I'll see you next time and take care. Bye bye.